Good morning, pleasure bestie.
From the beginning of the call, I'm already feeling energized.
Yes,
Whew.
pussy activated. I thought about a juicy intro to everyone listening. Natalia and I, we shoot each other messages every now and then about Holy Trinity by Mama Gina. It's three things we brag about, three things we desire, and three things we're grateful for. And I thought we could do it all around pleasure. Are you down for that?
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. Thank you for invitation. What a great way to start the morning. Like, by the way, it's 8:30 in the morning. It's crazy, but I love starting the day like that. Okay, you go first.
Okay. I brag about that I can orgasm without touching myself. I brag about that me and my pussy, we're really good friends. It didn't used to be like that, but now we're just, yes! we're aligned. We're on the same mission. And I brag about how much I feel inside of my pussy. Yeah. Which also has been such a journey. And I am grateful for my pleasure bestie. I have friends. I can talk about pleasure. How amazing is that? I'm grateful about for all the amazing sex I have with my boo. And I am grateful for all the pleasure in my life, just eating food, having all those amazing smells, warm water. Ah, it's just all around me.
Yeah.
And I desire even more like deeper orgasms to meet me in an even deeper way, to be so present with my sensations, be so like without judgment, just there to like to drop any judgment and meet me wherever I am on my pleasure journey. I desire to open my heart even more to myself, to my experience. And I also desire to open my heart even more to my boyfriend.
Amazing. I love that for you. And I
Thank
trust it's
you.
happening. Yeah. Everything is coming your way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah, but before that, I just want to brag about you. Bragging about your pleasure because, hey, this is not so. It hasn't been always like this for you. And it's really beautiful that you are able to be so connected to, first of all, your brags and even more that these brags are related to pleasure, to pussy. So, yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalia.
All right. So I got a bit surprised that we are starting with Holy Trinity. So, and as usually it's coming quite easily. Today I felt like I'm more on the dark side of my inner world. So it's a fucking challenge, but let's take that challenge. Okay. So, um, uh, mhm. I brag about the ability to feel my body so deeply that I have never felt it this way before. And this comes down to my senses, and this comes down to being able to feel pleasure in a completely different dimension.
Yeah.
I brag about waking up and meeting my pussy first before I meet anything else. Brag about that. Hear her talking. I am able to hear her and feel her being wet when there is something that should be happening. And I can feel like, all right, she says yes to it. So no matter what my brain is saying, it means it's a yes. Yeah, I brag about that. I am able to trust this message that she sends. I am grateful for the pleasure bestie that is in front of me. Oh, I am so grateful that I went through VKF and you were there, and then I created women to women circles and that you were there.
Yeah.
And then you invited me to a secret pleasure container. And here we are.
So we're actually truly pleasure besties.
Yeah,
We
from the
met
beginning.
because, we wanted more pleasure in our life.
From the beginning, it was this way. So, like, the only name for this podcast, for what we are creating, and the only real one and the true one is actually this.
Yes.
Our relationship was always about that from the beginning. Like, no matter in which stage we were and to which extent we could actually dive into pleasure, it was always oriented around that and around evolving around pleasure and developing our ability to feel pleasure and to trust pleasure. And I'm grateful I have done.
Yeah. Amazing to have a pleasure bestie, a bestie along the road to learn more about pleasure, to feel more pleasure. How fucking amazing.
Yes. And really study it. Like, really study my body alongside with you studying your body and exchanging and really like experimenting and analyzing, like collecting data around what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, I'm also grateful for that. Like, I have the courage and I am able to, this is one side of it, and also that you have the receptivity for this and you're open for this. When I'm in the middle of self-pleasure practice, sending you a voicemail like,
Yes. I love that.
this is really special.
Oh my God. I feel like everyone listening, you should like find your pleasure bestie with who you're going on the journey to discover your body, your pleasure even more. So you can like call that person in the middle of a self-pleasuring session and be like, you know what? I just found out this and this. Or you know what? I just had a cervical orgasm.
Yeah. Definitely. And I was not hesitating. I was like, all right, like, she needs to know. Desires. Ah, I desire to sink into my heart even more. I desire receive such a loving, caring, safe intimacy and love with a man. I
Mm.
can feel him already being on the way. And I desire orgasms every day. Yes.
Fuck, yes. Mm. Oh, what a beautiful way to start this call. And it really,
Yeah.
I think we made it clear that we are experiencing a lot of pleasure in our lives. And it has not been like that. We like worked our way to be so orgasmic, to feel so much pleasure. And our call today is also exactly about that because there was so much frustration. And to be honest, like sometimes there still is frustration involved. And let's talk about that. Or what is alive for you right now, Natalia?
Mm, so, like, I just want to add on this, like, Holy Trinity, what we just did, the bragging, gratitude, and desires. Like, it happened already before that I was kind of in a little swampy swamp, and then I did this practice and I felt like, wow, way better. And
Yeah.
now it happened again. Like, when we started the call, I was like, okay, I am inside of myself, but what is happening inside of myself is not so, it's not
Mm.
so pleasurous, let's say. But with this practice, with the Holy Trinity, I can feel that actually there is always the bright side. And I think it's the same with the pleasure and the intimacy and sometimes the frustration coming around orgasming or not orgasming or feeling pleasure in the body or like not feeling as much pleasure as we would want to feel or judging if the orgasm is as it should be. So yeah, I feel that we could actually talk about this, how we kind of plant or have planted this native frustration, and then we kind of use it against ourselves instead of just being really grateful for the capacity of our body, whatever the capacity is, to actually experience the pleasure.
Yeah. I love how you wrap that around. It's so true. I think it's so important to feel our frustration, our anger, like I call it like the dark side. And also, it's so important to concentrate what is there and to say yes to the pleasure that is present. And there is pleasure. I know how so many women are like, I don't feel anything, or I'm numb, and I've been there too. And like it's almost not true because even just sitting on this chair, I feel the pleasure of my skin, I'm actually sitting on a fur, like my skin on the fur and how soft it is. I can feel like my hands, how they're like warmly on my legs. And I think what a lot of people mistake for going when they want to reach like high orgasmic states is that they have this picture in mind that like from the beginning it has to be like hot and spicy and like going up to pleasure out and then you explode or whatever. While it's not like that. It's a journey. It's a journey to recognizing how much pleasure there already is in the body and like relaxing more and more into it and opening yourself more and more to the goodness, to the pleasure. And at least for myself, this has been the path for me for the most beautiful orgasms of they didn't start so extreme or me being so crazy turned on or whatever. It was just me allowing myself, even when I feel really shitty or like not turned on at all, to put my focus on what is pleasurable, what does feel good. Um, and saying yes to it, not be so critical, like, this is not enough. But
Mm.
to like be like, yes, it actually does feel good. My fingers on my skin and
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said, and like here, the way I love talking about this and like being with the body while being intimate. It's like basically you are intimate. Like if you feel your body, if you feel your senses, you're intimate with yourself all the time. And the way I would approach pleasure in the past was really goal oriented, and therefore I was not in the reality of my body because I was chasing something that was not for me. I was chasing an image of how orgasm should be. I was chasing the imagination or something that I
Mm,
have seen or I have heard of, but it was not the reality of my body. It was not the somatic, felt reality of my body. So only when I was actually really with the experience of my body, I could make pleasure out of everything that was inside of it.
mm,
So,
wow.
like, when I could feel, like, probably we'll talk about angergasms and sadgasms a little bit, but I feel like the most important part was actually being able to feel the emotions inside of me and just trusting that this is what I should be feeling instead of forcing like a fake, joyful, ecstatic orgasm when it was not what was inside of me. Like if we talk about
Yeah.
climax as the kind of the accumulation, the culmination, the finale, the grand finale of something, we can ask the question, okay, what is it the grand finale of? Like, what is inside of your body? What are you going to, what are you going to climax with, right?
Mm,
What is that? And so when, for example, for me, there was, like a lot of rage, a lot of anger for the past experiences when I couldn't have said no, when I had boyfriends with whom I wasn't feeling safe to express myself. And I was swallowing my anger and I was swallowing my disapproval of what was happening to my body. But I didn't have courage. I didn't have the strength. I didn't even know that it is possible to say no to a man. Like this is the background from which I'm coming from. And then with like years
yeah.
later with another partner, like when I could feel and trust what I was feeling. And I was feeling a lot of rage. Like he would penetrate me and I would feel like okay, there is something like really uncomfortable inside of me. And then I am on the crossroad, let's say, and I can choose to suppress that and be like, okay, I'm gonna have an orgasm, like a joyful orgasm. But this is not the reality of my body. Like, I wasn't joyful. I felt actually pain or rage, like emotional pain, and was like, fuck, what is that? Like, it's safe, it's loving. Like, why the fuck am I feeling so much anger at the moment? And I was allowing myself to feel it fully. And of course, we were communicating, right? Okay, now I'm gonna probably feel some more anger. Is it okay for you?
Yeah.
Can I go to this space with you there? Are you ready for this? Like communicating about what's happening. And then when I could feel that it's safe to express that, I could actually go into angergasm. And like, this is another flavor of pleasure, right? Not the pleasure that we think we should get, because it didn't look that sexy. It didn't look that beautiful. Probably it didn't look that, amazing as I would love to, but that was the reality of my body. And I stayed true to that, and therefore I could have released and climax with what was the climax of the things that were just mixing inside of me.
Yeah. Can you take us a little bit more into your journey? Like almost like step by step, you're self pleasuring, or maybe you're with a partner, and then your internal reality is something like a mix of, yes, I feel the pleasure, and there's also like anger coming up. Um,
Mm.
can
So
you
how
take
that?
us on a journey how to navigate this?
Okay. Ooh, nice. Okay, I gotta get really deep inside of myself. So also this works with like crygasms, right? With sadgasms or with feargasms, where the body is like shaking and trembling, and you just allow it. But let's say with the okay, I would love to talk actually about the crygasm, which is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could feel like this is like a really beautiful one. So I had a lot of fear around intimacy and around penetration, and actually being in my body and being penetrated was already a journey, right? Because so many women are just getting penetrated, but they don't feel their bodies. They feel numb inside. So that was the journey to get there, and I was getting there by myself and self-pleasure practices. But once I got there and I could feel at that moment the safest I could feel, and we were having a penetrative sex, there was a point that came when I could feel that it's uncomfortable, that maybe I don't want this penetration. But it was not the no. It was not actually that I don't want a penetration or that I don't want to be intimate. It was my fear that what I'm feeling right now is not orgasmic. And can I be intimate with my partner when I'm not feeling orgasmic, or when I'm not feeling that it's pleasurous? But we stayed true to that. I was communicating like, well, I actually feel like I want to cry, and it's kind of uncomfortable if you are inside, right? There was like some degree of discomfort. I wouldn't say pain, but like not pleasure. Okay. Let's call it this way. And he was like, all right, we can go there. So he was, so I was guiding him in which moment I could feel the discomfort, and he would come and use his penis as a, let's say when you go to the massage, masseuse, and you're getting a massage and he's just pressing the thumbs in your back in the tight spots, is the same what is happening with the penis. So he was kind of penetrating the places where I could feel the discomfort, and then I would breathe there. I would tell him, oh my God, okay, this is the uncomfortable spot. And he would guide me to breathe while he kept pressing that spot. And then I would tell him, okay, now I need a break. So he would get out, and then he would come back again and he would breathe again. And I would tell him, all right, I feel like this is like, I'm going to cry. And he was like holding space. He was allowing me to cry while he was penetrating really slowly, attuned to the reality of my body, because that was
Mm.
something that needed to be felt, even though it was from the past, even though it was sadness from the past. That was sort of a grief, maybe from the past relationships. Sometimes these are emotions that we cannot even attach to any particular situation in our life, but they are sitting all there. Because if there is anything that we would prefer to hide from the world, we would hide it in the deepest, I call it like that, the only pocket that we have in our body that is the deepest, and we can hide something the furthest possible so no one will see. It's actually our vagina. So we are hiding emotions, we are storing it there so no one will ever see. And yeah, so we were having this penetrative sex, and I was crying, and I was crying, and I kept on crying, and he kept on gently, like kind of massaging around the spots that were uncomfortable for me to feel, but he allowed me to cry, and I allowed myself to cry. So even though I felt this fear at the beginning of, oh, is it like I shouldn't feel this, right? I feel fear that this is not what's gonna come to an intimate moment, but this shows that if you're intimate with yourself and you communicate what is inside of you, like everything what is alive in you, and you are with it, it means that you are intimate with yourself, and therefore you can be intimate with someone as long as it's put on the table and it's like honestly communicated what's real. Yeah, and then he was like hugging me, or like it was definitely one of the most like sensitive encounters, like sexual encounters. So it doesn't have to look this way, but it can look this way. And for many women, that is a relief that they don't have to be joyful or they don't have to be happy, explosive. Like it can happen. But for many women, there would be a long journey to actually get to the to the pure joy and just ecstatic aliveness from actually having an orgasm and being intimate. But for many, first, what there would be to feel would be the fear, would be the sadness, would be the anger, because it's like kind of, not, yeah, because it's the thing that blocks the way towards the joy.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up. And I really want to point out, like, from my experiences, there are like two kinds of sadness. And I used to feel like so much sadness while having sex, but it was not the kind of sadness of, oh, there's like old pain and it feels so good to release it. So I just want to say, if you're having sex and it just doesn't feel good and you're sad, this is not the invitation to stay in penetrative sex. What we're talking about here, or this is also what my experience is, that I'm with a loving partner and I am very present. I'm very present in my body. I'm not like in my head or like zooming out. And I'm also feel how my partner is so present. He's with me, like he's very conscious. He looks me in my eyes. We're both there and loving and kind. And um, then you feel like sadness coming up. And then you feel like, oh my God, there's pain in my pussy or wherever it is. And then with being so present and actually in your experience, it can be like so beautiful to allow yourself to feel it, to allow yourself to cry or be angry or be scared. And your partner and also you're holding yourself in this experience through your presence and also through pleasure, or at least like this is like my experience, that there's like so much sadness, but then there's also the pleasure of being with my partner and we're both present. And that is leading to me crying, but it actually feels so good. Like it feels like, oh my God, this pain has been with me for years and I can finally let it go. And my pussy finally feels safe to release it.
Mm. Yeah. Yes. So, like, what I have noticed with working with emotional navigation and women, like whenever there is fear of or sadness or anger, they call it like negative emotion, which is like, no, there is not such thing like negative, positive emotion. There is the emotion. Something caused it. And the narrative of this being negative emotion is just not helpful at all. And so the invitation to feel all of that is actually to be able to live what women, whoever is listening, if you didn't allow yourself to feel that fear at the moment when it was happening, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5 days ago, it lives inside of your body, and it will till as long as you will finally allow yourself to feel it. And it doesn't mean that it will be endless. It can be maybe even 5 minutes of consciously consciously of being aware of what's happening, feeling the fear. And then it's gone. So yeah, I like imagining it this way, that when there is the canal, it's kind of like the surface, the walls of the vagina are like points like that can crack when you touch them. And these points are the emotions. And whenever you pause, push, and breathe to that spot, the surface, it can be like a volcanic surface, will just drop and it will crack open. And the softness beneath is the softness and the pleasure and the happiness, the joy, the ease that you actually want. But the more suppression, the more kind of thickness and the layers that need to be felt is there. So just spot by spot, visiting them, feeling them, pressing into them, breathing into them, meeting them, and then they're just slowly, slowly clearing.
I love that picture. Thank you.
Yeah. And it demands gentleness and patience. Patience, like a lot of patience.
Yeah. Also, what comes to my head for everyone listening, and they might be a little bit confused of at the beginning, I was talking about it's so important to concentrate or put your focus on pleasure. And now we're saying, like, oh, but you can also like go deeply into sadness and rage. How would you say, from your experience, how do you navigate that? Because I think I have my own navigation between like those two worlds, and I want to share them later. But can you share how you navigate this, of how important it is to concentrate to pleasure and at the same time feel all those emotions?
I would say there are like different types of self-pleasure practice. And it's good to have the right proportion of that in your week, like weekly self-pleasure. So you can go into this, I would call this like more therapeutic self-pleasure practice, when you are going into the self-pleasure and it's like, all right, what is there that I need to feel that I haven't felt yet? And then going with the intention of, I'm going to feel it all, whatever it is. If it's going to be fear, if it's going to be sadness, rage, frustration, whatever that is. And just feeling it and being it and living it and being this experience. If you need to cry for half an hour, if you need to shake for half an hour, if you need to rage for like 10 minutes, whatever that is, instead of forcing the pleasure, because it does the opposite, because it's just another suppression that you would need to kind of unwind the next time. So it's really better to stay true to that. Then there is the other aspect, which is like, I believe that every woman can feel pleasure at any stage of her, let's say, conscious pleasure journey, right? So no matter how much suppression, how much anger, grief, fear, whatever you are carrying, tension in the body, like whatever you are carrying, you can always kind of spice it with pleasure and find the pleasure. So what I love doing with women is this like really simple practice of just with the most reverence, slowness, and gentleness, touching their body, their lips, their chests really slowly, like feather light strokes. And actually, what comes during the practice is that, wow, they never felt so much pleasure from just being with their body, from feeling their own skin. So this just shows that pleasure is always available. It's just a matter of using the right type of touch, the right type of stroke to actually feel it. So this is like the other type of pleasure. When you are focused on the pleasure, you want to feel the pleasure, and you are just like the slowest way possible actually starting to feel your body, feel your senses, being gentle, and kind of writing this new script in your system that actually, from the narrative of no, I'm not orgasmic, no, I cannot feel pleasure, you are like, after the first time trying this, all right, actually this is possible to feel pleasure. And then another practice comes and you have already two experiences of feeling the pleasure in your body, right? And another one is overriding the narrative of that it's not possible to feel pleasure. And I not mean to force, but it's about giving yourself a proof of that actually what you believed is not true anymore, because your body is able to feel pleasure, even in the body that has been tensed with like stiff neck or stiff jaw or whatever. Because there are spots that are stiff, but there are also spots in the body that are really relaxed, that are the most relaxed in comparison to the ones that are the most stiff. And this is what I would focus on. Yeah, so like having intention of why you're going into the practice and what you are getting intimate with inside of yourself. What are you choosing?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for like your explanation how you choose. Okay, and set the intention before you even start. Like, okay, today I'm gonna really hunt some demons, if you want to call it like that, or go inside my pussy and look for painful spots. And I'm gonna allow myself to almost like digest it and feel it, to like free myself up. And then there are also other times where you choose to, okay, just gonna fill myself up with pleasure, and it can be like the softest, lightest touches, and I gonna really focus on those beautiful sensations and set the intention for this pleasure practice to be this. Um, I for my pleasure journey, or sorry, did you want to say add something?
I think I have two things, but I will put it later.
Okay. Okay. I think for my pleasure journey, it has also been similar, where I would like set intention and go in. And also, I think I am also at the point where like my body is telling me like, okay, now it's time to release this. The last time I went on a festival with my boyfriend, and I was about to get my period, and I was horny, but I was also feeling so much pain in my pussy, in my pelvis. And I allowed myself, just like what you described, to have sex with my partner and um, use his dick. It sounds wrong, but basically, like, we went on this journey here where he would use his penis and he would, we would go inside the pain, and I would feel the rage, the sadness, and free myself from everything that was stuck in there. And my body was just telling me, like, now is the time, now is the time to release it. And
Mm.
also, I think it also doesn't have to be so separate. I think it's also beautiful to titrate and allow your body to feel a little bit of pain or a little bit of sadness, a little bit of anger. And then in the same session, you can go back to feeling pleasure and fill yourself up. And everyone has like a different kind of tolerance, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be so hard. Like, you don't have to go like overwhelm yourself with sadness and anger. Like, you can stay within a very pleasurable area while also feeling your anger, your sadness, your pain. So you can go like back and forward in one session. And the most important part is that you are present and true to yourself, and you're not like going into thoughts or you thrift off. And yeah. And there's also one more thing I wanted to say. When we talked at the beginning of being so judgy about oh my god, I don't feel enough, like there is not enough pleasure. Like, it doesn't matter what practice you do, if you go on this journey that Natalia and I are in, you decide to drop your criticism. It doesn't matter for what journey or for what self-pleasure practice. Like, you decide to drop your criticism and to be intimate with whatever it is. If it's the slightest pleasure, if it's like huge pleasure, if it's pain, you consciously decide to like stop the criticism, stop your body, stop to tell your body what it should be feeling, what your experience should be like. And you allow yourself to be intimate with whatever is there.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right, your teacher is saying this like, hey, look, when you have a frightened animal, right? Or a dog or a kitten really afraid of everything around, you're not going to tell it, hey, feel pleasure now. Now it's time to feel pleasure. Why are you not feeling enough pleasure? Right? You're not going to have this narrative around this animal that just needs care, softness, gentleness. And it's the same with your body. Like, imagine, like, if it doesn't feel something and you want to force it to feel something that it cannot feel at this moment. It's like talking to this animal that was not treated really well for a long time to calm down or to feel more pleasure or to go and play. And it's not like forcing, it's not the way to pleasure. Forcing is not is not the way to get there. And also as an inspiration, while we were talking, this came to me like, so I'm coming from the place where I was really afraid to put my fingers inside of myself, to put any type of a dildo, crystal dildo, or any wand. And when I have first started, it was really scary. Like, I remember we were in this VKF, well-fucked women salon from Kimanami. And so we were having this homework of self-pleasuring. And for me, that was so new. I never did that before. I never did that before with so much attunement to what was real in my body, right? Because, okay, maybe I did that before, but not really wanting to fully see what was inside of me. And during the VKF, when she invited us to have like scheduled self-pleasure practices for like half an hour or 1 hour, I did that, and I was just sliding my fingers inside of myself. I was like, what the frick is happening? And I would record myself talking. So I would talk for the entire self-pleasure practice. And that was like far from self-pleasure, right? It was more like self-discovery, like wanting to hear, wanting to feel, wanting to just go and see what is there, like traveling to another country and learning the language and seeing how the natives are living there. So that was the same for me while I was for the first time visiting my pussy. So I would record myself while I was talking. And like there was a lot of stories that were just taking me away from my body. So I want to say that what might be happening, depending on like which moment in your body, in which moment of your self-exploration you are, it might be happening that there will be a lot of stories that are unrelated to your body. But if this sits inside, your body will need to express it, and you will keep on talking. Like I would talk about things that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I was thinking about the color, about something, about something. So if this is the way to meet your body, that first you need to meet the stories, then that's fine. Also, this is the way.
Thank you for bringing this up. Yeah, how powerful.
I felt like I was in a laboratory. I was like, what the fuck is happening inside of me? Then I would play
The
that.
best kind
I
of
was actually really
laboratory. As we are coming to an end, would you be down to share, and then later I share, like 3 things out of everything that we shared that you want the women to take with them?
Mm. Oh, it sounds so vague, but I would say be honest with the reality of your body. Be honest
Yes.
with the reality of your body. If it feels anger, if it feels fear, if it feels sadness, be with it and pour pleasure into that.
What about 2 more? So 3 in
Um,
total.
so, uh, yeah, there is the thing with the partner intimacy, like trust, like trust that he really wants to serve you. Trust that he wants to serve you. And he wants to serve what is true inside of you. He doesn't want to serve what you expect.
Wow.
Because,
I
yeah,
have
on the top of
goosebumps.
that, I was really surprised when my partners were actually serving the truth, what was inside of my body, right? But I would be like disappointed with what they were not giving. But what they were not giving, what was not meant for me to receive at that time. So when I started to be honest with what was real inside of my body, they were actually providing to serve me because that was the truth. So this is what I mean. Like, if the sadness is the truth, say this. He will serve you. Trust him. Trust that you can be served. And the third thing, yeah, like have scheduled self-pleasure dates with yourself. at least once a week. At least once a week. Like start with half an hour if you have never done it. But I would recommend like 3 hours of exploring yourself. Like really not going to the kitchen, like not going somewhere, not answering messages. It's like a sacred time with you in your bed, with oils, with engaging all 5 senses.
Thank you for sharing. I would say 3 hours are fucking amazing. And if you are in the journey where 5 minutes feels a lot, like that's beautiful. Set your timer for 5 minutes and then next time it's 10 and see wherever you are in your journey. At least from my experience, sometimes felt a lot to commit for even 30 minutes. What I would love for the women who are listening to take with them out of what we said today. Yeah. I think I love what my teacher Leila Martin is saying, which is everything can be the portal. And what we talked about today, it doesn't have to be the craziest orgasmic experience in the moment. It can be numbness, it can be sadness, it can be anger. And if you allow yourself to feel it and to be intimate with the experience you're having, if you allow yourself to be true to that, that's gonna be your portal to so much pleasure and aliveness. I would love for you to take away, yeah, that it is a laboratory. You're on the journey to learn more about your body, about your pleasure. And Natalia and I, we started with so much pain and numbness. And now we're so orgasmic and we're having so much pleasure. So it is possible for everyone. I think that's it. What comes up.
Okay, amazing.
Thank you, Natalia. This was our second Pleasure Bestie podcast. Yeah, how amazing.
Wow, what a great way to start the day.
Yes. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.